Yeah, 모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So fly
All right, welcome back. Time for our main man. Your main man. I'm getting caught up in what y'all like. Y'all know I don't like Steve Kim. The Korean Cosell joining us. This segment is brought to you by our great friends at Preborn. You guys know how much we love Preborn and supporting their movement to protect life in the womb. 2 ways to give, pound 250, say the keyword baby, pound 250, keyword baby, or to give the way that I prefer to give, preborn.com/fearless. Steve, I want to talk with you about the NFL banning defense, basically. They're banning defense. The hip drop tackle has been banned. The NFL Players Association is against this rule. I've seen tweets from Cam Jordan, Tony Dungy, J.J. Watt. All kinds of people are ripping this rule, the hip drop tackle. Most people don't even know what it is. What are these guys doing? It's like they're purposely trying to destroy football, Steve. What do you think?
Remember the legendary words of Hall of Famer Jack Lambert when he said, I might as well put dresses on these quarterbacks? Now you might as well put a sundress on everybody. That's what it seems like. But this is almost like a derivative, in my view, the hip drop tackle, from the rule of the no horse collar. And then I think about a decade ago, they started going to this rugby-style tackling. And I've seen these drills where they have these big, large donuts and guys are supposed to kind of tackle wrapping around their waist. And I think players naturally found another way to do this. That's just my view of this de-evolution of tackling and contact and collision in this great sport of American tackle football. You know, Jason, I do wonder, as you take out the physicality, the defense, some of the things that we liked, let's be honest, some of the violence that is in this sport. Jason, I wonder, without gambling and fantasy sports, which are now tied in together, what is now the real appeal of football? Because it's not the game that we grew up watching. In fact, it's not even the game from the early 2000s. Because this game now, in the immortal words of Coach JB, is watered down.
Steve, I honestly think, when you have the NFLPA saying, hey, don't do this, you're destroying the game of football. How do we tackle? What is this sport? When you have the NFLPA saying don't do this, and the NFL is doing this, it makes me wonder, like, is the NFL or is Roger Goodell, is the leadership, are they intentionally trying to undermine the watchability of the game? Because this just doesn't make any sense to anyone.
Well, here's what I think. They keep taking an inch, which becomes a yard, which then becomes a first down, and then it becomes 100 yards. So now they've taken 100 yards, right? Because if you go back to when this rule really started, I believe it began with the Roy Williams takedown of Terrell Owens way back, I believe, in the 2004 season, where T.O. then missed the last 3-4 regular season games, came back heroically for the Super Bowl. And that's when they disallowed and banned horse collar tackles in specific areas. You're still allowed to do it in contained areas in a pile. Then it became the concussion protocol. They were very afraid of the liability and the lawsuits, and there was a movie. So all of this comes back to player safety and also not getting sued. Now, in terms of the watchability, Jason, for guys like you and I who watched football at its apex in the late 70s, all throughout the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, yes, it's a different game, but we have to be realistic about this. You've mentioned this. They're trying to appeal to more of a globalist, female type of audience. And this is the reality, Jason. If you look at television ratings in terms of sports, I don't know if the NFL's had any drop-off. They still dominate the Nielsen's. So maybe we're the ones who are panicking. Maybe we're the crazy ones. Maybe none of this actually matters, because let's face it, Jason, come Labor Day weekend, what is the rest of the country going to be doing alongside us? Watching football. Yes, even this version of it. So we could talk about the watchability of it. I can't lie. Come August 31st, I'll be watching football that weekend. I can't. It's just the way it is with me.
I think I'll be watching, but
You think?
again,
Okay.
I'm going to be watching less. I'm going to be watching less. And your argument is correct in terms of like, hey, we will change our standards because it's just like with basketball. I've changed my standards. I'll watch women's basketball based off the storylines and based off, hey, at least I believe they're actually competing and caring about the game. Yes, the quality isn't as good of the basketball that I used to watch in the NBA or men's college basketball, but I've lowered my standards and I've now enjoyed women's college basketball for this season and much of last season. And so maybe you're right. Maybe I'll get accustomed to this, but I've been to the mountaintop. And so I think there's a point where this bubble is going to burst, that the gambling and the fantasy sports and all that just isn't going to sustain, because we've given the referees another judgment call. And what we're going to have are more complaints about the legitimacy, the integrity. Is this game rigged? Is it being manipulated? Once people think, hey man, this is the WWE or the WWF, I do think people are going to be less likely to watch. And the more judgment calls we give the officials, the more we're going to question the integrity and the true competition of the sport.
Jason, I can imagine late August. Hopefully, I'll be in Gainesville for the Miami Hurricanes opener. I know what you'll be doing. You'll be doing studying cut-ups and clips of Caitlin Clark's mid-range game and seeing how she can be stronger on her offhand and the dribble drive. And you'll probably be compiling your top 25 Whitlock AP women's basketball poll. I get it. Our change, but here's the thing. Football, we have to keep this into perspective. When people say football's gotten soft, still a relative term. It is still a physical, mostly violent game. Most regular human beings could not play football, nor would they want to, nor should they. Let's be honest. Us Asians, for the most part, we should not be on the football team. We should be tutoring them. We get it. We're good with that. We still love the game of football. But it's still a tough game, and there's something about it that, Jason, like you, with Ball State, you are part of their alumni association. You played the game. No matter what you say, it's like that line in Godfather. Every time you think you're out, they're going to pull you back in. That's just the way it is. And with me, I've got so much Miami Hurricane gear now. Boy, I have no choice but to watch the games now. It's just my wardrobe choices are now affecting. It's just affecting how I do things. So, look, we could say that we don't like football as much, but Jason, we still love football. We have to admit that.
Steve, I love Ball State. I'm always going to love Ball State. I watched the least amount of Ball State football that I have I graduated Ball State in 1990. Okay. I saw less Ball State football content this year than perhaps any year since I graduated Ball State in 1990. And in fact, that's a bit relative because in the early 90s or most of the 90s, I had to go watch Ball State games. I had to be in attendance. But this past year, I did not watch much Ball State football because of the transfer portal and because I can't follow the kids for 4 or 5 years anymore. And so I'm less connected. And they've changed the game so much with the transfer portal, and so it's just undermined my joy. Yeah. I think the same thing here is going to happen with the NFL. Look, the Kansas City Chiefs are winning Super Bowls. They just won their 3rd Super Bowl. I'm a Chiefs fan. I lived in Kansas City for 16 years. They got the best quarterback in the NFL. I watched less Chiefs games this past year than at any point since 1994.
Okay. So, Jason, I have to ask you this. What was Ball State's record last season?
I'm not sure. Maybe 5-7. I'm not sure.
All right.
I'm not sure.
All right. So this upcoming season, let's say they jump out to an 8-0 start. Okay, which means this year's team that you're going to have is going to get picked apart on the transfer portal. But enjoy this season. So you're 8-0 this year.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're not going to get Ball State fever and you're back to bringing your laptop to sports bars to watching Ball State? I've seen that happen, by the way, folks. He did that when I visited Nashville a couple years ago. Come on. 8-0 start. You don't get Ball State fever. Come on, Whitlock.
We were 4-8 this year. Woo! And look, I don't know the players as well.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to watch so many of these guys I knew them from following them on Rivals and the recruiting deal when they were 16 and 17 years old, all the way to their 23-year-old or 22-year-old seniors. Now, half the roster, I'm like, what school did we get him from? And where did our best offensive lineman, all MAC, he just transferred to Purdue. He hit the portal, and now he's going to be the starting left tackle for Purdue. I've been following this guy for 3 years, and he just bounced on me.
Jason, so every UCLA game I saw this past season, I thought of Ball State because they had your running back, Steele.
Carson Steele.
I get it. Jason, going back to the issue of contact and the violence in football, one of the things that I like to do is to just go on YouTube and just punch up old highlight tapes, NFL films, and I got to send you and TJ some stuff from the 80s when they had the NFL Crunch Course. They used to put together whole hour-long videos basically glorifying the viciousness of the game. I mean, guys like Kenny Easley, Ronnie Lott, David Fulcher. And so there was a point where the NFL said, violence, we got it. Come over here. And now it's like, no violence. Mom, it's okay. You guys can have your sons play football. It's really a stark difference in the way they not only play the game, Jason, but the way they market it.
Steve, thank you so much. We're going to bounce. You'll be watching less NFL. I'll be watching less NFL. It's hard to sell. I can't wait to hear these broadcasters, Troy Aikman and all these other broadcasters that went through the real NFL, when they start flagging people 15 yards for pulling guys down from behind. I can't wait to hear them try to sell that garbage. It just isn't going to sound the same. The bubble on the NFL is going to burst. And this year is going to be the start of it, where I think I bet you they reverse this rule. I'm going to say they're going to reverse it in season. Season. They're not even going to wait till next year.
I don't know if you can do that with the rules committee, but another rule that I don't like is what they're doing with the kickoff returns. I know they're trying to take that out. Now they're doing this XFL stuff. I think there's an incredible irony in a year when the great Devin Hester, congratulations to him, is going to the Hall of Fame largely on kick returns. They've tried to take kick returns out of the game for the past dozen years, and now it's going to be some circus act where guys can't move. It's going to look like freeze tag, and then you can't. What happened to the Gunners? What in the name of Steve Tasker and Raina Thompson are they doing to special teams? And then the kickoff return, in my view, Jason, is still one of the most exciting plays in football, and they've ruined that also.
Thank you, Cosell. Great job as always. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, I'm just sorry they've ruined football with this. I want you to hop in the comments and tell me if I'm right or wrong here. Are they not ruining the NFL with this hip drop tackle? When you got Tony Dungy, J.J. Watt, Cam Jordan, the NFLPA saying, don't do it, you're killing the game, this is unwatchable. And just think about the records that will be broken by receivers and runners or whatever just because of this tweak to the game where there's no fear of hard hits, no fear. They're destroying the game. This is a controlled demolition of the NFL. Tell me what you think in the comments. We'll see you next time.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder.